Good morning or afternoon if you're on the East Coast. I can see a lot of connecting to audios. I'm Krista, president of Tribe Coaching. Mark and a few of the other coaches are with their coach actually this week. But Ryan Grant is here with us today. We're of course going to be following up to the presentation that we gave a couple of weeks ago. So last time we were together, Ryan shared how realtors should be thinking about lead conversion in ways they've never thought of, and you too. The presentation that he's giving to realtors right now to quadruple the leads that he's getting from them, and how that presentation is solving a major problem for his realtor partners. So before I kick it over to Ryan, I wanted to do one thing, which was we did this in the Extreme Implementers workshop that was the day after that mastermind. And we just went through, I wanted to remind you of, we sent out a ton of resources in the recap email the day after, and we just want to remind you of what is there. So can everybody see my screen? Great. Yep. I see thumbs up. Thanks, Ryan. So I've scrolled down to the resources section where we put those underneath the recap. And of course you have the presentation right up there. And then we also put that game film of Ryan presenting that presentation to a real estate team. We pulled out, there was a time during the webinar where Ryan gave his kind of pitch video and scripting for when he's trying to get realtors to come to that type of event. So we pulled that out and made it a separate video for you guys, and also wrote down that script so that you have easy access there. And then this was the one that was not mentioned in the webinar, but right after it, Josh went and created scripts for presenting to the not interested right now market or crowd. And so we pulled those out and put those into a script for you guys. And then the rest of this stuff, Joseph Mercante, I'm probably totally mispronouncing that. I'm sorry, Joseph. Gave us like a tabletop sign for your realtor events when you're presenting the 4 types of leads. And then we included some past webinars, Ryan optimizing his HomeBot platform. If you want to see how he does that, that was in our Tech Tools webinar last year, and we pulled that back up for your reference. And then Mark and Josh's mastermind on creating realtor events, as that's top of mind, obviously, for everybody. So we pulled those things. They are in that recap email. If you have any questions there, hit us up at team@tribecoaching.com or in the chat, and we could try to help you with that. With that, we will spend the first part of today discussing your wins and challenges as you've been out there implementing, and then we're going to move into Q&A. So Ryan, I will kick it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, team, I'm super excited to be here today and just hear from everybody on how this has been going for you as you've been implementing it. I can tell you, I was in Dallas on Monday and Austin on Tuesday. We did 2 separate events with about 100 real estate agents at each event. And the feedback is just, it's a whole new level, something that I haven't really seen in my career. And, you know, the messages we get, the requests to meet with teams, the request for us to present to specific teams or brokerages. No one's seen this before, right? Like, your competitors are not out there talking about this. Most mortgage professionals don't want referrals to people who don't absolutely want a mortgage today. And most real estate agents have no way of engaging over 90% of the people that they're talking to. So I'm seeing it work firsthand in multiple markets across the country, and it's firing me up to, when you win, you want to do more winning, right? And so I'm just excited to continue to double down with this presentation, and then once that presentation is done, you go deep with the right people and start to draw business from their teams really quickly. In a matter of days, you'll get business from this. So just wanted to hear from you all what has been working well, what are some of the challenges? If you haven't done this yet, what's holding you back? Just love to hear from you all. Who's up? I have to start calling on people here. Jason, what do you got, man?
I just want to share just some wins. I took this out and presented it to a small group of agents, and I was really surprised. Number one, that most agents still had a database of people who weren't interested. Figure they just throw the number away and never see it again, but they did, and they gave it to me, and it was to candidly, it was almost more than I could handle out of the gate. Like, they had so many of those, but we've already turned quite a few of those into conversations. I've had some where, they are still interested. They've kind of got their financing dialed in, and, obviously there as a second opportunity. But more than anything, I was able to bring it back to the agent and say, hey, this is a live one. They may not be using me for financing, but I'm putting a deal in your hands on a silver platter. And they were very, very thankful for that. And I think that's just something that'll get me the stronger leads and to just kind of continue that relationship going forward. So it's been powerful to this point.
Nice work, man. That's great. I would encourage everybody to really hone in on what Jason said there, is that you can feel overwhelmed with the results of this presentation, because people will want you to do the work that you're recommending, that they allow you to do. Right. And so understanding, like, that's why at the end of these presentations, I'm always very clear with, look, we're depending upon the, like, if I'm one person and maybe I have a production partner, helping me, I would just be honest and say, look, we've been doing this, because we understand what's happening in the market for the last 60 days. It can be overwhelming for us if everybody wants us to do this at the same time. So I can only be the right things to the right people. If you do want us to help you with this, please reach out, scan this QR code, email me, text me, whatever you need to do. And unfortunately, I just have to be first come, first serve with the right partners. And it's a mechanism to get the people who really want to do this connected with you. But don't take everybody, right? Like, if 15 people come up to you afterwards and be like, we need to meet to go over this, don't just say yes to all of them. Right? Like, this is a time where we have what real estate professionals need, and the same way that they've stiff-armed us for 80 years, right? We can kind of do a little bit of the same, right? And not in a bad way, not in a mean way, but in a way that's, considerate of you and your bandwidth and your team. Because the last thing you want to do is tell everybody you're going to do all these great things and then just fail, 14 out of 15 people. So be aware of what you can handle, and work through that appropriately. But thank you, Jason. That's awesome, man. Great to hear. Mark, what about you, man?
So things are going pretty well. I just had another realtor meeting this morning, and it's funny. I've now changed it to like the initial call, then I set up a meeting, but I'm actually starting to get leads like right away from that just initial call, like a 20-15 minute call. And when I start talking, so I'll just talk about like the funnel of how realtor works. They're like, you take the 20-25 different people, and at the bottom there's 1 to 2 people that they're interested with, and then they take those people, they want to close in the next 60 days, whether buyers or sellers, and then they refer those people to a loan officer. And that's kind of like the current paradigm. When they raise their hand saying, hey, I want to go see property, that's when you refer. And I just say, I want people that aren't raising their hand, right? I want the people that are unsure, that told you, I don't think right now is a good time, or there's nothing affordable, right? Or there's a lack of inventory, because affordable is at a certain rate, right? What's affordable at 6.5 is not same as what's affordable at 4.5. Lack of inventory at 300,000 is not the same as lack of inventory at 350. It'll go quick either way, but they're more likely to find the right home. And I really just say, I'm looking for people that aren't on your board. Realtors, when I walk into their office, they typically have like a whiteboard and like the 30, 60, 90 days. I'm like, I don't want anybody that's on there, right? Because if I take somebody that's not on that board that you don't think has any chance of closing, and I meet with them and I turn them back to you, right, the next week, right, and they're red hot, they're motivated, they're listening to you, they know that you're the local expert, and they need to listen to you on price, and we're at a closing table in the next 60 days. That's money in your pocket no other lender is going to put there. And then you're going to start to like me. And they'll laugh. And then I'm starting to get deals just from that. But the meeting today went really well. I walked them through the whole pre-purchase consultation, basically the slides that I had put together. And at the end of it, I got what I've been looking for probably being in this industry for 16 years. I've never really gone after realtors because I just never felt like there's anything unique. Like, I'm just going to be saying the same exact shit that every other person's saying. You know, maybe I'll bring them donuts or some bull ass BS. But he literally goes, nobody else has offered this. This is a unique value proposition. I go, thank you. I've been working on this for over a year. So, and I feel like I've been rolling it out for a few months now, and I finally got it fine-tuned, and we're starting to see results and realtors getting closings. And just on a phone call yesterday, I got one of the top realtors in my area. She was on HGTV. She's got, just on herself, she's always doing at least 40 closings a year, 40 to 60. And she sent me 3 deals just from me and her on a phone call. We're both in the pickup line for our daughters to pick up our kids at school.
Nice.
So it's working. You just got to get out there and do it.
Yeah, man. Well, first, congratulations. It's always cool to see when someone's been in this industry for that long, kind of breaking through a new barrier. And I think that for everybody on this call right now, that should really be an emotional goal for you, right? Is to, like, what barrier have you not broken through? Maybe it's that you've always worked with realtors, but you've never worked with great ones, right? And now the barrier you get to break through is you get to work with one of the top ones in your market, or you didn't really work with them at all, or you struggled with value proposition, or for the first time you really feel like you have something unique. Like, whatever barrier it is, mental or emotional, work through that, right? And try and find that. I think Mark has done that really well. But one thing I'll say, I think the part of that entire presentation that I've been, like the other day, I was giving the presentation in Austin, and I got to a place where I almost got like emotional around how we need to help prospective home buyers go from can to should to must. And if you can really hone in on that point, like, maybe you don't even need to give the whole presentation, but you just talk about that, right? So, Sally, I want to, and you can even go to your existing agents. Like, Sally, how many pre-approved buyers are you working with right now? I have 2 or 3. Okay. Do you know, of those 2 or 3 buyers, how many of them think they really should buy a home? Not really. Well, do you know if any of them really believe they must buy a home? Probably not. That's a problem, right? Because knowing you can buy a home is very different than believing you should, which is also very different than knowing you must. And if you're not working with buyers who are at the opposite end of that spectrum, who believe they must buy a home, you're going to be wasting time and energy. They're going to be lowballing offers. You're going to write multiple offers. They're not going to get accepted, right? Because they don't really know why they're doing what they're doing. They're just doing it because they can, and they think it might be a good time, right? We need to get people to that state of mind. And that's been, you can see every one of the audience's wheels turning, and they're like, oh shit, I got to start calling my, pre-approved buyers and really kind of vetting out where they're at. And you can be the person that helps them, move the needle from one side to the next. So, Mark, great work, man. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Let's go Krista, and then we'll go to Brooke. Because Krista, I'm assuming you want to say something to Mark.
Yeah, actually, Mark, I wonder if you're willing to share. So you've been on an amazing journey, and I'm asking you to share just like a summary of your journey, because when we met probably sometime in the fall or early fall, you knew you needed to make changes. You didn't know exactly what to do. But I feel like you have been such a valuable member to the community. Like you came on fire, you started creating your scripts. As you were creating presentations and scripts for yourself, you were sending them to us to post into the digital library so that other people could take advantage of them. So I don't know if you want to share more about your journey, but we would love for you to take a few minutes to do that if you're willing.
Yeah, thanks. So I've done decent business throughout my career. My best year, 2020, I did 125 million, 418 transactions. But then I was doing 1 to 2, like for a while there. And it was like, it just totally, my main niche, which is clients from India, kind of all left me because they went to these local banks with these low arms. And there's nothing that, anybody could do. So I was completely just, and I've looked to try to work with realtors many different ways over the years, from doing Facebook leads to hey, let me do this, let me do that, let me, I'll figure out I'll do a Facebook lead funnel for you and we'll get you leads. It's cheap. And I'm always looking for this value, and it never worked. And like finally I found you guys, and you're talking about education, and I'm like, oh, that's me. Right. I love that. I love educating buyers. I love empowering buyers to make sure that they can make the right decision for themselves, really educating them on the pros and the cons of their choices, and then letting them decide what makes the most sense. So as soon as I found you guys about 6 months or 7 months ago, I just started like drinking from a fire hose and just trying to take as much as possible, and then start implementing a few smart things I did. I hired a VA out of the Philippines. It cost me $4 an hour. All they do is call realtors all day long. I typically have one, and I changed their scripts around because the scripts that they were using weren't that great. But now I have between at least 1 call a day, but most of the time it's 2 to 3 calls a day with realtors. And it's just set up to be like a 15-minute phone call. But I leverage that into the pre-purchase, into the first meeting with the realtor. I then use the version of that I created, which is, it all started off of Ryan's Bulletproof Buyer from August of 21. But I, changed stuff and made it more current off of that, based off the new stuff that's coming out with things and the new slides. And I'm starting to really get traction for the first time. Like, I'm really getting realtors saying yes. I mean, they've been saying yes for a while, for a few months, but they haven't been getting me leads. And then this last part of like, okay, just keep what you're doing right now. Who's ever raising their hand, send them to your normal guy. Give me all those people that aren't, right? That realtor that had her own show on HGC, whatever it is, Jen Risley, she's a Keller Williams. She's like, oh, I got A, B's, and C's, and my C's I might contact once or twice, and then I just put them in a drip campaign, and then I never talk to them again, and I'm like, give me all those C's, and she's like, sweet. So I'm not touching them. And I'm like, give me those. Let me educate them, and I'm going to bring them back to you, and they're going to listen to you, and they're going to make serious offers, and then we're going to be in a closing table, and that's going to be money in your pocket. Nobody else is going to put there. So
yeah, I think the takeaway from this team is just, a lot of us have been put in a place of like fear or shock or bewilderment. Like Mark said, he was doing 125 million, helping 40 families a month, and then it went down to 1 or 2. And that's a head game, right? That's a there's a mental health challenge with that. And what you did, Mark, is you just took action, right? And I actually was talking about this yesterday with somebody, that our past is limiting our opportunities in the future, right? Because we continue to see our past as when we were winning, and we see the present as whatever we see that is today, but not as good as it used to be. That doesn't need to be the case. That shouldn't be the case, right? There's more opportunity to stand out in this market. There's more opportunity to be valuable in this market. There's more opportunity to get, the best realtors in the country to work with you in this market. There's more opportunity to solve problems in this market. But if we keep thinking that we're not good enough because we're not doing what we're doing in 2020 or 2021, that's just a mental mistake. Our past and the past market and what used to happen has nothing to do with today. So the question is, what are you doing today? Like, how much action are you taking? And you guys are, I mean, look, if I was able to get this stuff, like I remember I used to watch Josh Metal put out blogs in like 2015. And I was like, man, I wish I could just steal that stuff. Like, it'd be so cool if I could just take that and then go use it on my website. And now we all just get to do that, right? Like, we just steal all these presentations. We get to steal all the material. You get to just watch us do it and then go do it, right? But the only question is, why are you not? So Mark, kudos, man. Appreciate you sharing and being vulnerable, kind of sharing about your journey, and Krista for pointing that out. There's no excuse for everybody on this call, if you're really serious about being a mortgage professional years into the future, for you not to just be taking massive action, because it's the easiest thing ever. It's silver platter, and when you go do it, you will get a phenomenal response. Brooke, what'd you have? I saw you had your hand up for a second. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I want to be respectful too of the time. I know we're getting into into everything, and it's kind of taking up some time. So I apologize. I'll be respectful of everyone's time, but
you're good.
I am yeah, so I'm super excited. Ryan, like I know you and I kind of talked briefly when you were visiting in Santa Barbara last, but I'm going full LO effective May 1 for the family wealth creation team, and I'm so excited. But I've been using like April right now as we are kind of transitioning through our through everything, the loans that we do have. I've been doing more like connection with local real estate agents, and even real estate agents that are outside of Santa Barbara too, that I know. And I can't thank you enough for the presentations that you've given. Just the, you spoke so much about the emotional barriers, the value prop. Like for so long, I think, I was so hung up with like fear of elevating myself to that next level. And just by having the resources that you provide us and that our team provides us here at NEO has really challenged me and just invigorated me and made me so excited to want to take that leap of faith. And I'm doing it. And it's like all these activities, like I went to 3 events in Santa Barbara, women's groups over the last couple of weeks. And I actually have like leads now, and I have meetings set up, and I'm going on Friday up to a town called Newman, where I bought my first investment property last year. And I have like my first like real realtor meeting where I'm going to present your lead presentation stuff. And I'm so excited about it. And it's great. And it's transformed me in a way where I'm back in love with what I'm doing. And yes, like I'm going to be totally vulnerable. I fall below the line, and even yesterday we had something and I'm like, I'm below the line, but I was able to get myself back up by, doing some of these other activities. So it's so fun, like, to learn from you. And I know I'm on a call with all of you amazing loan officers too, who've been doing this forever. So I'm a newbie, obviously, kind of one of the newer loan officers, but I'm excited. And so just by doing those activities and kind of setting a task list, each week, I'm seeing results. So if I can do it, I know everyone else can do it too. So thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing the work and believing in yourself. If you could like see what's in my head for your future, you would have zero lack of confidence. Because there's just not a lot of people out there who are going to do the work you're going to do, who are going to do it the way you're going to do it, who are going to present the information the way you're going to do it. Like the setup here is not fair. Like what we're creating as a community and what we're presenting and the way that we're going to change this industry, it's not fair to the people who aren't going to do it. Right? Like that's your unfair competitive advantage. Now, that unfair competitive advantage only works when you work. And Brooke, I know how hard you're going to work at this.
Yeah.
But like, if you could fast forward 10 years, your world's going to change, I promise. And I remember myself in 2011 when I just started being scared and sitting outside of open houses and driving away from them without going in and telling my wife I did go in.
Yeah.
Like, it's not what you're going to go. The journey you're going to go on is going to be incredible, and we are super excited to not only help you through it, but watch you go through it. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it.
Brooke, I just wanted to add one thing that I've heard recently that is helpful in me coming over overcoming my own fear.
Yeah.
Is I'm kind of like writing a book, and I'm like, I'm not a person who should be writing a book, and like, but I'm like, I have this idea, I want to get it out there, but like, probably other people have said this, and the coaching that I'm getting is like, hey, remember that you could actually say the same thing. But if people want to find their people and they want to work with their people, and
Yep.
so that may be out there somewhere, but maybe there's not a fit between those two people. And even just like what you just demonstrated, I don't even know you. Like we haven't met yet. And I'm like, I really like her. Like, right? I'm
Thank you.
like, wow, she's so authentic. She's so joyful, gracious. Like people identify that and they go like, I like their energy. I just want to be around them. And right, so I would just remember that part too. And this coming from, somebody who's just has now made the decision. I'd like to spend time sometime. So
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, I hope to, yeah, be a tribe. Well, get into the coaching and stuff, but I haven't really deep dove into it yet. So hopefully one day. Yes. So thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
on your way.
Yes.
Well, team, what else? Has anybody, and your share will be a gift to everybody else, vulnerably, good, bad, or indifferent. Has anybody not presented this yet and maybe wants to share why or why not?
Hey, I'll be transparent, Ryan. I'm just
Thank you,
brand
Rick.
new to the tribe. Hey, how you doing?
Good, bud.
Brand new to the tribe, so I appreciate everything you guys have done. I actually went back to the March 2nd thing that you guys, Kristen, everybody sent to me, and I presented that first. So
Good.
I didn't do this one yet, but I am going to do this because I'm really motivated based on the results. But I was just impressed just on that March 2nd one. So I wanted to do that first. So I did that on Wednesday to a group, and it went really well. So, and it was really
Love it.
impressive. So anyhow, thanks for sharing all that information. It was awesome. So
Are you talking about the market conditions, like what's happening in the housing market's about to
yeah,
boom?
because there was a lot of questions on that. And so they gave me the opportunity to talk on that first. So, but it went well and it was great. And so I now want to focus on this one. So I'm going to do that. And I was really impressed with what Mark did. So I appreciate it. I don't know if you have, I love to see the presentations live like you did. Did you tape any of those other ones that you did in Texas or?
It's almost this exact same as the
thing.
one that I
Okay.
sent out. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. No,
Yeah,
it was great.
but what's interesting is Josh did his right before I did mine. So he did 30 minutes, I did 30 minutes. And seeing their reaction to all the data and the analytics and why the housing market is about to boom, like every realtor's phone was just taking pictures of every slide. And finally I was like, guys, we'll send you slides, right? But like you can tell people need and want this information. So much so that we had an agent ask, she's like, hey, I want to do a presentation to my entire database, all my homeowners and all my prospects. Now I want to show them this information because they don't know this. And I'm not as good as teaching it as you are. So we're going to be doing these for the consumer, and agents are going to be bringing their homeowners, their prospective homeowners, live in person, and then also via webinar. And so, I would definitely offer that to your agents as well. Give this presentation to them first, but as a call to action, say, look, like, it's great that I know this. It's great that you know this, but you know who really needs to know this, right? Is the people that you're serving. So I'd recommend that we do a seminar either in person or via webinar, depending upon the geography, and invite all the homeowners and invite all the prospective homeowners and just show them what's about to happen. Right. And then we can start, you can have a Calendly link where people can just QR code and start scheduling appointments with you. Right. You can do equity analysis planning with each homeowner, financial transition planning with each homeowner. There's more opportunity than any one of us could possibly handle, but it only happens if we step into it. Right. It's not going to show up. But thanks for sharing that, Rick. Mr. Mercante, what do you got, bud?
Hey there. I just wanted to mention something, and I love all the presentations, and they're really helping me. I'm taking your presentation and I'm weaving it into a new loom that I can send out to real estate agents and really start to amp it up. But one of the things that I want to talk about was about the details and people in the country. I'm not talking about realtors. I'm talking about the homeowners or potential home buyers. When they hear recession, it's capital R, political. A recession is bad and we don't like it and everyone's afraid of it. But we get a chance now with this data to also explain that, wait a second, we need a receding economy. That's what all these rate increases are for. This is good news when we see that we're in a small R recession and that the economy is slowing down enough. So that's going to let us get to the point where everyone can calm down and we can lower rates and we can continue on the progress that we want to make. So it's really a good story to tell, because people don't think capital R recession, they think it's a bad thing. And what really is, this is what's supposed to be happening for the benefit of all.
Yeah, and you sharing that to your agents is great for them to know, but in the back of their head, they're thinking, well, what's in it for me? Right? And what's in it for them is if they can get you in front of every person they know, you can remove the paralysis that recession creates, right? Because when fear happens, right, it's either fight, flight, or freeze. And most people are freezing, right? They're just staying put in their home, not doing anything, not planning on buying investment properties, not moving up, down, out of the area, not converting their home into a rental. They're not going to do anything when they hear recession, right? Because they just think get small, get safe. The good news for the realtors that you need to offer to them is we need to be actively engaging your entire database. We need to be actively engaging your prospects and the communities, the farming, any areas that you're farming. And we need to be educating them as to what this opportunity looks like for them. Right? So anyone with a heartbeat, get in front of me. And they should line up to do that. Thanks for sharing, man. Anybody have any questions? I see a lot of people looking like this. And I'm wondering, like, what's, for the people on camera at least, thank you for being that, like, what's going through your head? What's holding you back? What's, you know, how can we help?
And it doesn't have to be on this particular webinar. Brian can teach a masterclass on doing like an extremely quick Q&A session. So if you have thoughts that you have been like, how do I deal with this? What about this situation? I would encourage you to just bring them here, put them in the chat, and he will rapid fire live solution with you right here.
And Tim, we can go through anything else. It doesn't have to be presentations, right? It doesn't have to be anything. Like, where are your struggles? Like, what, you know, are you, some people I know are struggling with growth right now, right? They had to do a lot of cuts and layoffs, and now their business is ramping back up quickly and they're struggling with that. Some people are still struggling to ramp. So what, you know, where do you need help? Michael says 2 meetings coming up, one tomorrow, and I'm terrified, laugh out loud. I just don't want to mess it up. Michael, are you on? Would you mind unmuting and chatting for a bit?
Yeah, I'm on.
There you are.
So I did what you said and just started making the calls and started setting the appointments. And it's almost like I feel like I'm behind where I need to be to have those appointments. Like I made the appointment, put the cart before the horse, I feel like, when it comes to discussing all the material.
Dude, if you knew anything about me, that is my entire career. Like, I will tell someone, like, I have this great presentation. They're like, awesome, let's see it. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go make it. Right? I think you're doing it just fine. Or what presentation are you gonna give?
Well, I'm working on that now. I don't really have it all lined out. So again, picked up the phone this morning and started making those calls, and surprisingly was able to set a few like right out of the gate. And
So I hear that a lot, like surprisingly. Everyone, if you're on this call, you should not be surprised with how easy it is to set meetings right now. That should not surprise you. The only thing that should surprise you is if you're not doing it. Right? But like, people absolutely want and need help. They're afraid. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to create inventory. They don't know how to get their buyers off the fence. Right? Like, if you say, hey, you have a solution, I have a problem, they're going to say, come in today. What do you got? So, Michael, I would encourage you just to give the lead conversion presentation. Just swap out our faces with yours. You know, put your brand in there. Watch the video of me presenting it 2 or 3 times. It's only 30 minutes long. Practice it a couple times, and then go do it. And look, if you do 30% of the presentation, you did an awesome job. And then the next time you'll do 40 and 50 and then 60. And then you get so good at that presentation, you will not want to stop giving it. You want to give it once a day. But you just got to start somewhere. Would I make the assumption that you're not used to giving presentations to realtors?
Yes,
Great.
you'd be correct.
That means you're doing exactly what we're encouraging everybody to do, is get out of your comfort zone. Right? Like, we should not be trying to fix the past. We should be excited about the future. So just rinse and repeat it, man. Don't try and recreate the wheel. Literally say exactly what we say, right? Present it just how we say it. And if you can, record it, and then watch it back, and then compare it, and then get better the next time, and then the next time. But you got to start somewhere. If you saw my first presentation, you would probably not sign up for Triibe, because it was atrocious. I had to say 3 sentences and the paper was shaking, and it was like, somebody get this dude out of here. But man, I'm excited for you. That's it's really cool that you're stepping into that space. And the more comfortable you get with presenting, the more you're seen as an industry expert, the more you're seen as somebody who has command over knowledge that other people need. And look, that's why most people choose to work with a lender, is because they believe that lender has an ability they don't have. Right? They have an influential capability that is missing in their business in some way or another, or it's similar to theirs, right? Like, people don't work with lenders because they're good at closing loans. Like, you don't partner with someone in business because they're decent at their job, right? You partner with someone in business because you think very highly of them. And standing up in front of a group of people, I don't care who you are, people are going to think highly of you, because not many people do that. So
hopefully this one in the morning turns into 2 more immediately after that. So
dude, yeah, shoot me a text afterwards. Let me know how it went. I'm happy to jump on. I can chat through it with you afterwards. And but I really am proud of you for doing that. You're getting uncomfortable, and that's exactly what we need to do right now. Nice work, bro.
definitely that.
All right, we got. Let's go Pinky here, and then team, if you can just help me if there's questions in the chat or anything else I need to do.
Hey, Ryan, thank you for everything.
Yeah.
The lead presentation is phenomenal. As you know, I've given it a couple times. And after I give it, they're like, wow, that was amazing. I never thought of it that way. But I don't know what I'm doing. There's something I feel like I could be doing better as far as my call to action on it. Because although they say they love it in the moment, I'm not getting the, hey, let's talk about it some more afterwards. So any suggestions on that piece of it?
Are you finishing it with the scarcity piece that I talked about? And you won't see me do that in the video, because that was not my, like, I'm not actively originating loans. So like, when I go to these presentations, I do them on behalf of our teammates. So I'm not saying, you know, call me and let's set up a time, because that's not the objective. It's for the originators to do that. So you won't see me do it on that video. But how are you ending the meeting, or how are you ending the presentation?
So I did not do the scarcity thing, especially definitely the first time I did it. But the last time I did it, which was it was at a Keller Williams office. It was only a few people that attended that one. And I did do it in that one. And you're right, you know what, as a matter of fact, from that one, I did get a couple of leads from that one. So but otherwise I was just ending it with, I hope this has been helpful and open your eyes to a new way of looking at leads, and I'm here to help you. I just did it that way.
Yeah, so I would just, again, I would finish this and I would say, like, guys, I have to be, you know, I believe that honesty is the best script. And because, you know, my team and I don't have an endless amount of resources, we're not going to be able to help every single person's clients through this. So if you have, you know, prospective homeowners that may be interested in selling, or if you have people that have told you they're not interested, or if you have pre-approved buyers that just aren't really, you know, hyper motivated to do what it takes to get into a home, they think they can, but they're not at the must phase. Please scan this QR code, and every phone will go up, right? Like, you'll see it, and then it'll take you to a link of where you can, you know, schedule a time on my calendar, and let's work through it. I'm gonna have to tell some of you, like, we're gonna need to wait because the calendar is gonna book up, and I don't have an endless number of resources. And I can, like, look, what I'm asking you to do is change your perception of who you are to your clients, right? I'm asking you to change your perception of your partnership with lenders in general, which none of you have done ever, right? And so I'm under no false pretense that I'm going to have 1,000 people reach out to me, but the first 4 or 5 that really want to do this, we're going to get after it, and we're going to make a change, and I'll show you results quickly, right? And you'll have a line of people out the door, but you need to create that level of, like, what do you want me to do? Work with 80 people after this meeting? Like, it's not possible.
Right. That's perfect. Okay. I will keep that in mind. And then the follow-up question is that for the pre-approved people, you know, you talk about the can, should, must. The best way to get people from can, should, must is through our initial dreams and goals calls and our pre-purchase consultations, and educating them about the buyer's market, that those slides on inflation and populations, all that. Is that the concept, right?
100%. Yeah, you need to get people to realize that, like, hey, you kind of think that you're in control of this game, right? Like, you get to decide if you buy a house or when you buy a house, right? Or, you know, you kind of believe that you can do this on your own terms. Would I be accurate in that? And most people will be like, yeah, and be like, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that you're not, right? By 2030, 40% of all homes will be owned by Wall Street. And that's just institutional money. There's a lot of other people that have a lot of money who are also going to be buying properties for rentals, right? Like, you're not competing against your neighbors who want to buy a home and live in it. People understand the demographics, the population changes, you know, the money flow, the challenges in home building. And they, you know, there's what's called, you know, build to rent, where, you know, there's billions of dollars being paid to builders, not to build homes for the average public to buy. It's to build homes for institutional investors to rent, right? Like, the inventory being built is not even being built for you. Right? So let's really ask ourselves a question, like, yeah, you can buy a home because our computer tells us you can, but I believe you should, but it's important to me that you understand, I think you must buy a home, because if not, you won't be able to afford to live here, even from a rent perspective. And I would feel terrible if I didn't give you sound advice that allowed you to think that I'll just do this later and you didn't get a chance to. And I was the reason why you didn't get a chance to.
That's great. Okay. That's definitely more powerful. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, I say this, like, probably on every call. You guys are probably sick of hearing me say this, but you could say that in a way that is remembering the script, or you can say it with your heart coming out of your chest.
Right.
The latter is what they'll believe. The first one sounds like a sales pitch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for asking those questions. That was super helpful.
Thank you.
Mark, and then we'll go to Jennifer.
Yeah, so just kind of piggybacking a little bit on what you said, the big thing that I've gotten a lot of results from is just showing what the billionaires are doing versus what you talked about in your game film, where it's like we're selling something most people don't want. Only 16% of Americans think it's a good time to buy a home right now. So 84% are indifferent or think it's a bad time. But yet, what are the billionaires doing? Billionaires tend to have really good data. And I took that from, I think, the month prior's one with Josh Middle. And it's like, so Blackstone, they're trying to raise 24 billion. They end up raising 30 billion. So they're oversubscribed by 6 billion. Chase just announced at the end of the year. So this year that they're going to buy $1 billion in single family rentals. And then that Yardi Matrix study saying that, of institutions are going to go from 5% of single family rentals to 40% single family rentals. What do they know that the average person doesn't know? Right? They tend to have really good data. Why are they doing it? Well, then you show them all the demographics and everything else that really works. And the other thing I was just going to say is with realtors, they're scared right now. Even good producers, like how I was scared, a year ago and being like, where the hell did all my business go? They're starting to see that now too. So today on MBS update, there was 560,000 homes for sale in March. There's 1.5 million realtors. There's 3 realtors for every home for sale. They are afraid. That's why you can get meetings. Just tell them that you're going to be different. Make sure when you're on that call, you make sure you're going to say, I'm going to, you're showing them something that no other people are going to show them. I'm not just going to take you out to a beer and us talk. And in the end, I just want you to give me business. I want to actually talk about how I can grow your business. And that's the big thing. It's just remember, they're scared. They're looking for answers as well. And we have a huge, it's like they're drowning and we have a life preserver, like a life vest, and we can throw it to them. So don't be afraid.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, man. That information was super helpful. But I think what we should be taking away from that is a switch of perception from, man, I don't want to call these realtors because, what if they say no, or if they're not interested, or what if I get turned down, or, I literally thought that every time I'd walk into an open house when I first started. And after a few years, I started walking in thinking like, God, this person would be lucky to work with me. Let's see if they can figure that out. Right? Like that's the mentality that you guys should have right now, because you have data, you have skill set, you have a unique ability to educate and influence their clients, to help them overcome emotion, to help them create inventory. And that's something we're working on right now that we're going to have for you guys probably in the next 15 to 30 days, is exactly how to help show your agents why they should put you in touch with every homeowner and how you can create inventory for them. Right? But like, Jesus, if you have gold and they have nothing and you're offering that to them, it's not your fault if they don't get it, it's theirs. It's only your fault if you don't tell them about it. Right? So just change the perception from, lowly little lender to, king realtor, and flip that, right? Because that's what we're doing right now. I think before we go to Jennifer, Aaron had posted, I was at his event a couple days ago in Austin. And Aaron, I have a lot of your agents that are, reaching out to me on Instagram, asking to meet with you and I. And so we're going to need to kind of work through that. But that was just a great event, man.
Thanks, RG. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Jennifer.
Hi. Good
Hello
afternoon. So our office has been going out, on a weekly basis, just to different real estate offices within our community as a team. So the 3 loan agents, kind of as a group pitching, a lot of the presentation material. And then individually, I've been doing, home buyer workshops with realtors and then open house events. So my question was, and of course, after the event, I'm calling and texting and emailing, thanking for attending the event. And then, with the ask to set up an appointment just to, kind of get the process started or at least have a conversation. But, a lot of times we're not getting the feedback, that I would expect on, kind of after the event. So I'm wondering, what are you all doing? Are you putting them on a drip campaign just to be present in the process? And I know some people aren't, they're just starting the process, and so they're not obviously willing to commit, but I want to take the right steps to kind of keep in front of them still.
Just to make sure I'm perception checking and understanding the ask, is it the realtors that aren't engaging or the clients that aren't engaging?
The clients.
Okay. So the realtors are giving you clients to call,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not engaging?
Right.
So I'll ask this to anybody, and I'd love to hear your answer. When was the last time somebody called you to give you advice and guidance and help and not sell you anything? How often is that happening? Show of hands, anybody? No? You guys get what I'm working at, right? It's not, it's a rhetorical question. No one expects that, right? Like it's probably not even the best use of your time. I mean, it can be, depending upon bandwidth and, you know, team size and that kind of stuff, for you to make phone calls, but it's actually better for them to be making the phone calls because they're the known entity. You're not, right? Like if you call me, I don't care who you are, I don't know you, you're a lender who was referred to me by a realtor who I haven't talked to in a while, who I told I was not interested, like I'm probably not going to call you back.
Right.
Right. But like, you want to make it their responsibility, or do a video together, right? Do a vid that you can then send out, you know, that they see you and them together, where the realtor says, hey, Jennifer and her team are going to be calling you, highly recommend you connect. But the real power is in the real-time conversations, right? Like getting the list of not interested people is a good step. And it's awesome because it shows a step towards partnership, right? And you can show some value there. But what you really want to do is be like, hey, like, how many pre-approved people do you like individually? If I'm talking to, you know, to Mike is my agent here, I'm gonna say, Mike, how many pre-approved clients do you have right now? And just, you know, he'll probably tell you more than he really has. You know, they'll say 10, it's probably 2. And then you say, all right, well, how many of those people are actively writing strong offers that you feel are going to get accepted any day now? Well, they're not. They've kind of gone cold. Great. Can you put me in touch with those 2 people, and I'll show you how I can take them from can, should to must? And I want you in that meeting when that happens. Yeah. Okay, great. How many homeowners have you talked to in the last 30 days that didn't know if they should sell or not? Okay, great. Can you put me in touch with those specific people? Like, you have to get that specific, because look, no one's going to change their behavior in an hour, right? Like it's the follow, like all of the money in this and all of the opportunity in this is in the follow-up to these meetings. And it's in the granularity of the ask, right? Because I'll talk to an audience of 1,000 people, and every one of them will be fired up. And 2 hours later, they will have forgotten half of what I said. And 4 hours later, they will forgot I was there. And then the next day, they just go back to doing what they've always done, right? Because, and that's why I always tell people in these meetings, like, hey, don't, over the next 30 minutes or over the next hour, don't listen and learn. I want you to feel your way through this presentation, right? I want you to you to understand the emotions that you're feeling, because I can learn a lot of things and do nothing with them. But if I'm emotionally moved, you better be damn sure I'm going to implement that. Right. And so you want to move them emotionally in your presentation, do the specific ask that I had kind of mentioned to Pinky, and then do your follow-up with the people that you know you should be following up with, and say, hey, like, give me these people, give me these people, give me these people. And every time moving forward, when you hear any of those key phrases, put them in front of me quickly. That makes sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, we got 7 minutes left. One of you is thinking something that you're not asking, and you should ask it. Linda, got one. You're muted, but we got you anyways. There we go.
Sorry, it's a bad habit of mine. You know, as you know, Ryan and I have spoken, and I was like in that fear zone of getting out. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years, and all of a sudden after COVID, it just shut me down. So I went to an event a week ago. I had 4 agents that have accepted meetings, which is awesome. And I think my question is, I've heard everybody and how they're implementing Mark, some great share, thank you. Now that they said, yeah, I want to meet with you, then I'm trying to follow up and I can't get that meeting. And even with agents that I'm reaching out to that I've known and I've worked with, I'm having a hard time getting in front of them. So I scripted a text this morning with one of the agents, and I just said, hey, you know, do you have a list of your C buyers or C prospects that you just don't have time to call? Let me talk to you via a Zoom meeting or a quick phone call and share with you some things that I can do to help potentially convert those. How do you, my question here. So is that appropriate? Would you take that direction when you can't get in front of or get a personal meeting with an agent or with a group of agents? Would you shoot something over text? Would you shoot something over email?
Yeah, I mean, to me, video text is a cheat code that people don't use enough. If I send you a video text and you can see my face and hear my voice inflection and hear the passion behind the message I'm trying to deliver, it's nearly impossible not to reply to that. It's just like in our human, like in our DNA, like any one of you sends me a video text in the next 24 hours, promise I'm replying. If you send me a regular text or an email, who knows? Right, but that's just kind of how we are, right? And so again, the written word is not, it's hard to communicate emotion, right?
Yes.
And so like I would say, hey, Joe, I've been doing something really unique over the last 60 days with my real estate partners and their clients, and it has been phenomenal. We've seen such a shift. We've been able to create inventory from current homeowners. We've been able to get buyers off the fence. We've taken people from who weren't sure to cannot wait to buy a home in an hour. And I really, you know, I value you as a partner. And I know we haven't connected in a bit, but please, like, just let me know when you have a couple minutes. I just want to chat with you about it and get back to me, right? And shoot it. It's like it's going to be hard. Like, if that person knows you, like, there should be some level of response there. I would not recommend cold turkeying this to people that don't know you. But if you know them, that would be my best strategy. People always ask me, like, I'm getting ghosted, I'm not responding, they're not replying to my emails, they're not replying to my texts. I'm like, well, do you send them a video? Like, yeah, I'll send them a bomb. No, just send them a video text, right? Like, the one place they're looking all day long, they're going to see your face.
Their phone.
Them. Yeah.
Right. And the follow-up, I have sent it to a couple of agents that I actively work with about their follow-up. Are you, you know, what about people that you have that are not A or B buyers? They're C, and they, you know, they've kind of got pulled. Oh no, I call, and I know that's not true. How do you, I mean, is there any suggestion on how to really like get that information out of them or get them to understand that they probably are missing the boat?
Whether they're calling them or not is immaterial. It's what they're saying to them and the questions they're asking, right? And that's really your wheelhouse. Like, you're going to be the conversion machine. They're not, unfortunately. They used to be the conversion machine when money was cheap and inventory was abundant. All they had to do was be like, hey, you want a house? Great, let's go show you some. We're the conversion machine now, and they need to understand that in a very deep way if they want their business to be successful.
So excellent. That's what I needed right there. That is what I needed. Thank you.
Way to close it out. Krista, you want to take us home?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Ryan. All right, everybody. Well, the next webinar is on Thursday, May 4th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. It'll be a mastermind with Shivani Peterson. She'll be giving her Mind Over Markets presentation, the psychology of sales in a changing market. In this webinar, she's going to join us. She's going to share how you build a business that is no longer at the whim of market cycles by focusing on influence, brand, and community to unlock trust. Shivani is a top producing loan officer who has built a team as well as a personal brand, which has led to opportunities, business growth, and the ability to create a community of people focused on achieving financial freedom using real estate. So she's one of our people. You can count on her for an unfiltered take on the real estate market and how to best position yourself in it. She's also pursuing a master's degree in marriage and family, and she's got chaos of family life with 3 young children, she says. And then Josh has spoken at a few events with her now, and just thought you all would benefit from her insights. So that's why we're bringing her in. And again, that is Thursday, May 4th. Have a good couple of weeks until we get there. And if you have any questions or you need anything, email us at team@tribecoaching.com. Of course, Tribe with 2 I's. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Bye, y'all. Have a great day.